Like you said something about mango Pepsi.
Oh, it's
Yeah, do you like
delicious.
it?
My wife loves it.
Mm.
So her and I can be weird together because apparently liking mango Pepsi is weird.
It is, but I'm, I tried. I guess I'm not huge on mango, but I tried it and it is unlike cherry. It's such a mango flavor. It's like very noticeable. So I do at least give them
Oh
props
yeah.
for that.
I am sending Kingsley Mac $100 never in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome to the Guardian Hub podcast. And thanks for tuning in to episode 196, where we mix it up because sin doesn't make any sense. But we do talk Destiny, interview guests, and talk about our love of the game. And this week we have Kingsley Mac, Sin Media. Sin Media, should we go by that? And Des Raven, how you doing?
Des, how you doing?
It's all right, everyone. I'm back and I'm not wearing pants.
Oh, I love it.
That is okay about not wearing pants. We never have had that requirement.
First, we have some pre-show foreplay, and now we're podcasting without pants. I think there's something to be said.
What do you mean now podcasting without pants? I never podcast with pants.
Yeah, it was just probably brought up. Honestly.
Should I say picture never happened?
No, but it's.
I mean, if you
but,
want,
yeah, we
but
can be cash.
yeah. Anyway, but no, I'm doing better. So
Doing better. All right, all right. Glad to be here. Anything otherwise interesting you want to talk about besides Destiny, like life things, game things, whatever? It's your moment to shine. Let us know what's new if you want, good sir.
I don't know. I'm still playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. But beyond that, to be honest, there's a lot of interesting Destiny stuff to talk about.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll get into that. No, real quick, Yu-Gi-Oh! There was another game we saw. I forget who was talking to me. And, in Discord, it says the games you're playing. And there was one with like Japanese writing. And I had to click on the icon to see what it was. But someone, I think it was Sam, was like, what the hell is Des playing? How come it's a different language? He was sounding all racist. I'm like, Sam, it just looks like a Japanese game.
It was like all funky across the screen. Like, what is that?
Do you remember what you might have been playing? I'm trying to remember what it was, but it wasn't the Yu-Gi-Oh! It was something else.
Because I play Master Duel.
I think it was like an N name when I clicked on the icon or something, but
and
sorry, I don't remember. But
that's.
But yeah, it listed the text as like Japanese in Discord instead of like in English of what game you were playing at the moment.
Now, if it was an N name, that might have been Neuron.
Maybe that was it.
I think that was it. I saw the icon for it.
Okay, that might be in Japanese because it's kind of an all-in-one app, but that's not even technically a game. It's just listed as a game. But it's essentially a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game companion app. It does it's basically something that you're allowed to use in tournaments, like keep track of like life totals and crap like that. It has like the card search feature that works really well, so you can actually look up card information relatively on the fly. And Master Duel has this nifty feature to where you can actually save decks to the card database and be able to build and modify them on Neuron and then import them directly into Master Duel. So even if you don't have access to Master Duel, you could still modify decks, which is fantastic. And also as a side effect from that, I am now officially registered to be able to enter official Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments.
Oh, right on.
Even though I never will, but It can happen
but you
now.
can.
Yeah,
You
I can. Because the process to use the card database, you have to register as like as if you were like it's the same type of registration. So yeah, weird bit of information there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was interesting seeing that title, but Sin thought like the aliens had taken you over, but I knew it was Japanese.
No, yeah, it was yeah, that's really weird, but it's an app that can switch between like English and Japanese and TCG and OCG, so it's not too
No.
surprising. It kind of defaults to Japanese on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is funny to find that out though.
Yes. You'll have to check that out sometime too when you're playing it and then look in Discord and see what it says.
Right?
Yeah. Well, shout out to a lot of people in the chat right now that said hi to us. Thanks, Grackle, Drafty, Lord Silent, Rodimus. I know there's some other people lurking too, but just calling out those that have written in our live chat and questions for the show. We are recording Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, which we do most times. So if you ever want to check us out live, please do so. And we look forward to your comments and questions as we go forward in the show, because we definitely have some interesting and fun changes coming up. Do we not?
Yes, we do.
Which Sin didn't really read ahead of time, Des. He was reading some live before the show. I'm like, if you haven't read it yet, maybe we should just go over your reactions live during the show. That would almost be better.
Nice.
You read?
I skimmed.
You read the things, Des? Or do we need
I read
to?
the things.
Awesome.
No,
awesome.
no, I read the things.
Des did the homework. Sin didn't understand the assignment.
I read the things, and thankfully the TWAB is basically. Because hilariously, I found out about the info drop yesterday's info drop because I was scrolling through YouTube and I noticed a Fallout post. I was like, normally I don't do big news things on TWAB Day because he apparently tries not to detract attention from the TWAB or something like that, which I thought was just really cool. But anyway, but he said there was a big info drop, and I'm like, oh really? Let's see what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully, at least half of the TWAB is a TLDR of that info drop. So
yeah. Plus a couple other things, but the info drop is really fun. So should we start
so
there?
good.
I mean, we might as well get into it. We can, if we have extra time at the end, we can talk about what we've been doing. But who cares what we've been doing? Let's talk about this first.
So you're saying we do the same stuff, but it's a different day.
Sure. I'm trying to pull up the article too, so I can follow along. Blog post, by the way. Blog post.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Buildcrafting.
It's called.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is the one. All right, so we are going to go through this bit by bit. I'm going to skip over the TLDR, and we will just go like bulletin over bulletin. So first and foremost, one thing that is super, super exciting and super, 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 super fantastic, loadouts. Loadouts are coming officially to Destiny 2. It's happening, guys. We did it. We made it. Yes, and they are arriving with Lightfall. We are apparently going to get 6 loadout slots to be able to use. Did they mention unlocking? I think they might have mentioned something.
I think it goes with your Guardian rank.
Yes, because there's going to be a new Guardian rank system, and we will have up to 10 slots, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Yes. Okay, yeah. The example they used was for 6, but yeah. So one thing that we'll of course be able to do is, as the loadout works, it's going to keep track of like your weapons, the mods on the weapon, and apparently it's been confirmed beyond this, or at least mentioned beyond this. I think I read somewhere that it will also keep track of things like your ornaments and shaders potentially, or something.
You're right.
Some kind of cosmetic thing.
I saw that somewhere today too.
Yeah.
I don't know who clarified that, but you're
right. Right.
So that's good news, of course.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll of course be able to title it. There will be icons and such that you can use to identify on the fly. So yeah, this is what we've been asking for years. Loadouts, like in game, it is going to be fantastic. And maybe Sin won't take 15 minutes between each raid encounter.
And I'm probably one of the quickest. Just saying. I don't switch much around anymore.
Okay, anymore. All right. See, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't feel like Sin has been taking as long lately, but I totally get what you were getting at.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, because I'm working on old information here, guys. All right. These are old jokes, old material. Anyway.
Hey, listen, you were gone last week, and I kept your bit at the end alive. Just saying.
Nice. Let's see here. More good news. You know that nifty cosmetic customization appearance? Oh crap! What do they call it?
Well, let me see. I'm in game.
Our new the vanity menu. The appearance customization menu, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we're getting that for mods now. So we will be able to look through every piece of equipment that we have and be able to socket mods from that screen quickly from the sounds of it. So that is super fantastic to streamline that situation as well. So yeah, the good news just doesn't stop. Because mod applications, certain things are changing. One thing that is changing, mod energy types are being stripped.
Yeah.
They're going goodbye. That sounds, I mean, yeah, I'd never have been a naysayer about the energy types, but this will, removing the energy types this is going to create a gateway of freedom, essentially. Anyway, so they're getting rid of the combat. Why was I about to say that really weird? Anyway, they're getting rid of the combat style mod socket. That is going to go away, and it will be replaced by an additional generic armor type mod socket. So an additional helmet, chest, boot, whatever it is. So yeah. And they are apparently reducing energy costs for a lot of mods. They don't say specifically what. They don't give any examples. That's all they tell us. So, yeah. Additionally, mods that previously provided benefits to weapons based on their archetype, hand cannons or hand cannon loader, will now instead provide benefits based on weapons of a damage type. So there will be no more, micromanaging mods, essentially. It also gives another huge benefit to running mono-element builds to, maximize, fewer mods. Like one mod can change all three of your weapons. Anyway.
Yeah.
All
great news so far. Sin, you caught up, or have you already read ahead?
Caught up, you get it.
I'm reading it along, but I'm excited about that. That was one of the things I saw before show. That when I was skimming it, I'm like, what?
Yeah, what?
This is great. This is great.
The freedom that allows is going to be fantastic. But you want to talk about freedom? You want to talk about real freedom? Something I never thought they would ever do. Artifact mods are going to be a thing of the past. Because instead of artifact mods, they are being translated into unlockable perks. That's right. Instead of being able to, right? Instead of having to select a mod on an artifact to be able to use it, you just select that perk, and that perk will just always be active.
You don't have to put on your armor, Sin. You just pick it. Yeah.
That is super, super helpful.
Mm-hmm. So things like, for example, I forget the exact example they use, but like anti-barrier pulse rifle, whatever. Every pulse rifle you have equipped, as long as it does not have a pre-existing champion counter, it will have anti-barrier on it. So, yeah, that is fantastic. They are basically changing how the artifact works again. You will be limited to what you can have unlocked. But because they're opening up the system that is going to basically be possible, you're going to want to change a lot because you'll have a very limited amount of things because they don't want to give you everything because that will be entirely too much.
Entirely OP, they said. But they did say we can have 12. 12 is still
12.
Good
yeah, 12 is a lot. Yeah. But you will be able to reset your artifact for no cost now. So if you want to change anything, reset, pick a whole new slew. It is all good. So that is another massive piece of great news. But what about Artifice Armor? Artifice Armor to have the additional mod socket. But they're not getting rid of that mod socket on Artifice Armor. They are changing its purpose though. Instead, that additional socket on Artifice Armor will give an extra 3 stat points to a chosen. Oh my god. Stat? I'm blanking
the character
on words
stats.
Right now. So intellect, discipline, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
While 3 points isn't massive alone, I mean that's what 15 points across 5 pieces of armor.
Yeah,
that's pretty nice. I mean that's pretty much an additional masterworked piece of armor, essentially.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good, and it will let you like fine tune builds using Artifice Armor just a little bit more. Let's say you just need 2 points to hit in the next tier of a stat. With Artifice Armor, you can only go over by 1 instead of like 3. So that's good. It's efficiency. That's always nice. Yes, and then when everyone rejoice. Match game is going away. At the very least, they do specifically say for high-end activities, match game. Yeah, match game is being removed from high difficulty activities, and they are slightly reworking how the damage system works against like mismatching elements. But I think in general, it's going to be more damage for non-matching. Basically, however it feels in Gambit is how it's going to feel. I guess in general. And there, of course, will be other ways to deal bonus damage to shields. So that is fantastic. I'm just no more match game. Isn't that gonna be fan? Oh, that's gonna be great.
I don't remember match game bothering me too much, but I'm fine with this too. It seems good that they're getting rid of it.
It's just annoying. It's not really super difficult because I mean a well-coordinated fire team it's not an issue. It's just annoying because some things you definitely want to coordinate. Yeah. But now no need. So fantastic. A super exciting piece of news is they are adding in subclass champion counters. So barrier champions, Solar, Void, and Strand will have some capability using within their subclass kit. They will be able to pierce anti-barrier champions. Overloads will have like an arc, stasis, and void will be built in to handle overload. Arc, solar, stasis, and strand will have things built in to counter unstoppables. So yeah, so no matter what is who, what, when, where, why. Some examples they give is volatile rounds will be capable to pierce the barrier and stun the champion. Radiance will pierce through shields, freezing them with stasis, and then shattering was unstoppable. And then slowing them will counter like overload. So I think that's just like super fantastic. Which kind of sounds to me like they're taking some of those artifact mods and just building them into the subclass. Something like Inferno Whip, which solar melees, stunned unstoppables. That sounds right. Anyway.
Yep. And
but
yeah, and this season artifact, it's the arc melee and stasis. I'm trying to remember, but for unstoppable.
Yeah.
But this is intrinsic or whatever you can say. It's just going to be built in.
Yeah. It's like no matter what, you're going to have a way outside of your weapons now to be able to handle champions, which I think is going to be super great for like high difficulty activity, especially if it's kind of bad news because I think this is basically saying that they're not going to be getting rid of champions anytime soon.
Oh, I was exactly thinking the same thing. So they're not deprecating them, but at least there's more options.
Exactly. Having more more permanent options to deal with them is a good thing. I mean, that way we're not relying on, it's Inferno Whip this season, or it's whatever this season. So we have to use these subclasses. Like, at least there's ways. You are still limited to subclass options, but like I said, there's options that are just always there. This one was sad for me. This next one was very sad for me because I was a huge proponent of especially like Elemental Wells. But any fans of Elemental Wells and Charged of Light, well, suck it, nerds. Bungie is basically getting rid of those. They are replacing the Charged with Light system with what they're going to be calling Armor Charge. So the system essentially works the same as Charged with Light, except you don't need a starter like Charged with Light needed, which I think those were the green mods. Anyway, I think like taking charge, picking up an orb of light gave you Charged with Light. Instead, it is going to be how? Crap.
Let's see. This part I didn't read as much myself.
Well, yeah, I think it might just be like elemental like kills, I believe, or something. But now, doing a thing.
There's several lines here.
Yeah, no, there are several lines, but I actually don't think they specifically say how you get a stack of armor charge. They just say that you don't need like taking charge to get armor charge. Because I'm not saying it, and I've reread this paragraph at least 3 times as I've been talking, which has been a miracle that I've still been able to talk as well as I have. Anyway, so forgetting that for now. Either way, so all you need to do in order to start gaining armor charges, however you're going to do that, is to equip an armor charge mod. That's all you need. So there's no setup anymore. There's just payoff and like consumption, which is super good in my opinion. Mods that a lot of mods that previously created elemental wells or gave you stacks of Charged with Light can be converted to instead create orbs of power. So more ways to make orbs, which is pretty fantastic because, I mean, I think this kind of eliminates this potentially can eliminate the issue of taking orbs of power away from weapons and putting them on the helmet mods. I think this could potentially like alleviate a lot of that struggle. If there even is still a struggle with that. But by default, you can have 0 to 3 stacks of charge, or up to 3 stacks of charge, or armor charge, not charge with light. It's armor charge now. They will have sockets like charged up, which will turn into a chest armor mod. Will crank up your armor charge up to 6. They do give examples of some passives, or I'm sorry, every passive will basically give you 10 seconds of a benefit before consuming an armor charge. And you can extend the time decay by socketing extended charge, which will be a class item socket. Font of Wisdom will still be around, but it will basically give you the bonus intellect as long as you have an armor charge. So it's going to be, I think it's going to apply to that 10-second. Or no. Either way, I'm sorry. There's a lot of this that's kind of, it's not fully explained in this, but as I'm realizing, when I first read over this, I was very hype and I didn't care about the details, but now that I'm trying to explain the details, it's like, there's some details missing. So then you'll have, of course, some mods that will consume either 1, 2, 3, or all of your stacks of armor charge for particular triggers. So Charge with Light isn't really dead. It's just being more refined into what sounds like just a slightly freer system. Definitely easier to use, a little less convoluted than Charge with Light, thankfully. Also, for the future finishers, which they aren't just talking about finishers, but the finishers that do things like using a finisher on an enemy to generate special ammo, whatever, that used to consume super energy will instead consume armor charges instead of your super energy. So all of that sounds very fantastic to me.
Yeah, it's like we're building up gas in the tank, and then we're using it instead of like, we have to use this elemental charge to use the elemental wells, and finishers use your super energy, and this and that. It's just kind of going to a general pot. It kind of seems like.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff with Charge of Light and elemental wells are just being just broken down, and like I said, they're going to be vastly easier because, like I said, you don't have to worry about one thing to get it, one thing to use it, or passives and crap. The only bad thing I actually see potentially is like, as long as they don't get changed too much. I mean, Powerful Friends and Radiant Light, which are two like staples among Chargers with Light mods, just because of the passive benefit that they give. They're both apparently going to be helmet mods, so that's fantastic. So yeah, Elemental Wells also are what they're taking away from Elemental Well mods. Kind of a TLDR here is, again, something else that they're basically folding into subclasses. So there's going to be, from the sounds of it, there's going to be fragments that, when used, will generate a element-specific item. There will be ionic traces for arc, which already exist, but as well as stasis shards. But there will be fire sprite for solar and void breaches for void. And essentially, much like elemental wells and ionic traces, and how certain fragments interact with stasis shards, they will work like elemental wells. When you pick up an item, it will give you ability energy, much like elemental wells would. And then, of course, they will be building in like additional subclass functionality if you pick up like these items, because they make mention of another fragment that while the Ember of Tempering fragment is active for solar hunters, it will now create a fire sprite when you defeat an enemy with a solar weapon. And with the Ember of Mercy fragment, when you pick up a fire sprite, you'll actually gain restoration. So more feedback loops are going to be options in the subclasses themselves rather than in the mod system.
Lots of stuff.
All right, had to take a drink there. I thought it was getting very dry.
That's definitely a lot to take in, for sure.
It is
a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
It is. Oh, hey, it's almost the end. So yeah, thank God. Yeah, they do mention like their main goals are essentially streamlining build crafting and just giving more options in more places. But of course, they also have to balance things out. They have to basically undo power creep, and they're just kind of hitting the reset button on a lot of this stuff. Because again, they've already stated before that a lot of these things they have to design encounters around. Because if something is popular, of course, we're going to use it in these encounters, so they have to design around them. So at least being able to hit the reset button on a lot of this just makes it a little easier for them. And like I said, it sounds just a lot freer for us.
It does. I feel like, I mean, I'm kind of understanding this pretty well, but at the same time, it's going to be like, we're going to hop into Lightfall, and it's going to be, a lot of times these expansions are like, these DLCs are like this, but we're going to be like overwhelmed for quite a while just trying to figure everything out and the ways to do build. And that's a good thing, kind of, gives us lots of entertainment in a way.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, there's going to be a lot of new fragments for a lot of these new interactions. And they do state that not every build that you have now is going to be able to be recreated exactly 1-to-1.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, I don't see how they would with some of these changes, but things could be better in some ways or worse in other ways.
Yeah.
But
that's definitely what they're hoping for, because they do say the system has been changed enough to hopefully open up a lot of new possibilities with mods and ability combinations now. So who knows, right? But yeah, that's this. That's build crafting evolved, and my God, there's a lot. There's a lot they're going to be cramming down people's throats when it comes to Lightfall. Just an ungodly amount.
And Sin will be ready to deep through. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. Dive deep, Sin.
Welcome to Guardian Above After Dark.
Right, exactly.
Just remember to take a deep breath.
Or a deep sigh.
Oh, no, that's exciting. That's exciting. Thoughts, Sin? I mean, you kind of gave some at the beginning. I gave some in the middle, but maybe we don't have too much else to say on it now until we see it in action, but I'm excited.
I'm excited for it. I think what I'm most excited about is the changes to the subclasses themselves when it comes to champions. I think that's huge. I think that's going to be a good thing. Match game for sure, especially in the higher tier content. A win. That's definitely a win.
A win. All right. Let's see. I feel like there is probably one or two things that we should talk about in the TWAB. I know I wanted to, but if you want to do it, that's fine. Yep.
Well, I was about to say they are like retouching on red border drop rates, which are apparently better. Talking about the faster Dredgen title gilding, Because they say instead of 30 wins, you now need 50 matches total, but wins grant bonus. So if you're good enough to just win, you'll actually gild the title with 25 wins instead of 30 wins, but 50 overall. Well, if you're unlucky, you'll still need to go in 50 times.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, yeah. Starting with next week's patch, Bye Bye Blues.
Yay.
Yeah. If your guardian is, if your guardian is hitting soft cap, you will not have blues anymore. Drop. Hopefully, they do note that they are aiming, of course, to stop all blue drops once you hit the soft cap. And if you do encounter, if you do get a blue drop at the soft cap, visit the help forum so they can get rid of that problem. Because that will apparently be
any stragglers.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, and they are increasing gunsmith reputation or adjusting all other gunsmith reputation gains by an extra 25% to compensate for the missing dismantles of blues, considering you hopefully won't have any blues. Rumble will come back as a permanent node, considering it was a rotator, but Bungie has heard the people, and it will be a node.
That didn't last very long.
Not long at all. So also, the Catalyst quest for Year 3 Season Pass weapons, which includes Ariana's Vow, Symmetry, Tommy's Matchbook, and Witherhoard, will benefit from the Season Pass boosts like other exotic Catalyst quests. Finally. And apparently they're going to make it easier to craft exotic glaives. And also a whole bunch of information I didn't read about matchmaking, because they're still tweaking Fireteam-based matchmaking, and they're working on something new called dynamic skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah, more to come on all that. I mean, that's going to be...
That's nuts.
A couple seasons out.
And they're going to be like tracking how you perform and how you're doing, and trying matchmaking to how you're doing. It's an entire thing that I was not prepared to read whenever I first skimmed over this. So, if you want to know more about it,
that's okay. Yeah.
Also, airborne effectiveness. They are tweaking. Eventually, I think they said mid-season. I believe. I'm not sure. They might be talking about anyway. So they wanted to introduce airborne effectiveness because Strand was in their heads, and of course Strand being kind of airborne focused and movement focused. They wanted to not have Strand be like super oppressive. But they are making some changes to airborne effectiveness, and at base airborne effectiveness, primary weapons will be as effective as they were with the Icarus mod equipped pre-airborne effectiveness. But changes that they're making is airborne effectiveness will essentially, if you build into airborne effectiveness, it will, if I read this right, future building into airborne effectiveness will basically give you more aim assist while in the air, more bullet bending. You don't have to be that accurate. Whereas base airborne effectiveness, you will not have bullet bending. You have to get the reticle on the head to hit a headshot without building into AE. So that's a change coming.
We also have the raid. They announced March 10th. Yeah, it's okay, but I just wanted to mention that March 10th, so 2 Fridays after, kind of normal-ish, except again they're doing Friday now instead of Saturday, which some people will say, but I love this. This is a good change. I am not trying again for day 1, but then I'll be available all day Saturday for a day 2.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Also,
Sin, any comments on that?
I do want to jump in, and it's in a time where I could potentially take off that Friday.
No, take off Saturday. Let's do it Saturday. Well, if you do it Friday, I'm going to find a different group for Saturday.
Of course you will.
Of course he will.
Of course I will. Because I want to actually get it done instead of like doing it for 24 hours and then you still didn't get it done and then we had to go in the next day
In all
anyways.
fairness, it was 13, 14 hours.
Well, active time, but yeah.
And this was King's Fall. Granted, not the challenges, just the normal run through.
And King's Fall is also probably easier than what this next raid will be.
Yeah.
So I mean, you do you, Boo, but I'm going to find a group for Saturday. The earlier, the better. We don't want to be starting like at 10 o'clock and then you're like, wow, you can only do 2 hours. So we'll talk about it. We'll see what we can find for Saturday.
All right, we'll talk and plan.
All right. That was what my little comment was.
That's fair. I completely, because I love the way Hippie went into this. It's like, oh man, you're gonna love the new raid, especially the part where it cuts off.
Yep. Especially this part.
Right.
Such a troll.
So yeah, and then scrolling back through some of this, they are going to be making some weapon changes, of course. Submachine guns are going to get retweaked because they are saying that there are a couple outliers that are focusing on ranges they don't quite like. So they're going to be making SMGs a little less effective at longer ranges, but also a little more effective within their range. So there's a little bit of give and take there. Adaptive SMGs are going to be getting a little bump to critical multiplier, which will increase their critical damage, but they are saying that this only affects time to kill on specific resiliencies. So not a lot of help, but at least it's going to be a little bit. Pulse rifles, they're going to make them harder to use on mouse and keyboard.
Oh,
not kidding.
Yeah, I missed that. Okay.
Yes, they are increasing the recoil on pulse rifles by 20% for mouse and keyboard. So yeah, and they're reducing their range, their effective range, just a smidge.
Well, I do controller on PC, so I'm good.
Right.
Well, they do say that pulses are just too easy to use on mouse and keyboard. So
yeah, well,
from what they say, the changes are going to make pulse rifles on mouse and keyboard feel like controller. You're just on mouse and keyboard though.
Okay.
So that's the idea I get, at least from what they're saying.
Speaking of pulses, I'm running real quick the Velis X. I never wanted to run it, but one of the moments of triumphs things, and you got to run in strikes like what we're doing. And I actually like the Velis X now that I've gotten used to it.
You actually have it unlocked?
Yeah, I have it unlocked.
What did you finish to get it unlocked? Like, I feel like I'm so far away of getting it unlocked.
And there was a double rank Vanguard a few weeks ago, so it was super easy to do strikes and get that unlocked.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah. Anyways, but I just wanted to give the comment of Velis X is actually kind of fun now that I'm using it on controller on PC.
Also the Battler, the BXR 55 Battler, they're saying is a little too good. They will be leaning into its close quarters effectiveness, so they're not changing its hip fire accuracy or anything like that, but they are reducing its zoom from 20 to 18, which is somewhere around like 10-ish meters less that is going to be effective at. But again, they're just leaning into the hip fire nature of the Battler and not making it quite so long range. So I believe that's fair. Dead Messenger, they're reducing splash damage against players by 35%. DMT apparently feels too rewarding to fire from the hip, so they're making it. I feel like they don't know what they're doing with DMT. Like every time they make a change again with DMT, they're like swooping like back and forth. Either way, no more less leniency on the hip fire aim assist, and they're taking away the damage penalty for 5 stacks of cranial spike. So yeah. Also, they're apparently seeing Revoker used more, so you're going to have to miss 2 shots in 6 seconds to get 1 shot refunded, which I find incredibly fair, to be honest. So yeah, and they do give some teases of things that are coming about in the future, as far as weapons go, such as heavy weapon balance pass, adding subclass 3.0 verbs to several exotic weapons, tuning kinetic weapons, and adding a new perk to make kinetic weapons more valuable.
Ooh. Well, it could also just be Strand, going to kinetic weapons, right? But I guess they mean more than that too.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping.
Because Stasis went to kinetic weapons. So maybe it would make
That's
sense
true.
for Strand to go to kinetic also, because there's more on energy weapons right now than.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But they still have space in kinetic, essentially. Yep. Yeah. So they're also like post Lightfall seasons. So not at Lightfall, but a little later from drop.
Yep.
From the sounds of it, anyway. They're looking to change weapon hipfire reticles to expose more information, apparently. A full auto melee setting.
That's interesting.
What?
Well, it kind of you can use the argument for like accessibility stuff, but I don't know that I'll care about turning that on. It might trip me up if I turn that one on.
I would, because imagine like it literally leaves slap fights down to who presses the button first. Essentially.
Do you think? I feel like that still is kind of the case as long as you know how to time the next melee. But I guess some people might not be as good with that.
Screw it! I'm
just turn it on.
I would love to just turn it on. I'm just gonna hold that button and just smack the crap out of anything. They are, of course, also looking at another set of craftable reprised raid weapons, much like what they did with Deepstone Crypt. Fantastic. Regular seasonal and mid-seasonal balance updates, of course. Some changes, some more changes that they are making, or at least in Sitten's Ramparts. Hang on. They will increase the cooldown of the barricade ability while Sitten's Ramparts are equipped by 70%. Ouch. But more about abilities. They are increasing certain class abilities by 20%, which will be including all barricades, thruster, and dodge. Hitting dodges again. It's not too awful. It's like 6 or 7 seconds, maybe 8 seconds on the high end. Yeah, this is 8 seconds. But still, whatever. They are retouching the Touch of Thunderstorm grenade, because apparently what they did wasn't enough. Shocker. And they are removing stability, incoming glitch, and shotgun pellet spread penalties while sliding.
Ooh.
So, okay, whatever. And that's the TWAB, other than some amazing art. Also, wallpapers. My God. This image of the Traveler Above the Earth is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely some awesome. I need to change it up. I usually change it up once a season anyways, but now there's some more.
Yeah. I will say they do have mobile links for, of course, your phone. The first 2 wallpapers are absolutely fantastic because I feel they work very well because they are cropped, of course, for your phone rather than a desktop. But yes, Anna and Rasputin and the Traveler images are absolutely gorgeous, even while cropped. So I've downloaded both of those, and they will be my wallpaper on my phone. So yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
That's the 12.
Excellent. Real quick, Sin. Oh, you didn't do the weekly story yet, still, right?
I have not. I'm getting ready to jump in and do it tonight.
I mean, should do that now.
Live update.
But what was I going to say? So it's kind of at the point where, I mean, it's another. Okay, it's kind of like what you would call the mid-season ending. They did interestingly tell us on Tuesday when you log into the game that there's going to be, they didn't use the word epilogue or whatever, but there's going to be another mission/thing event that's happening the last 2 weeks of the season. And if you read spoilers at all, you might have some inclination what's leading up to Lightfall, right? But keep that in mind. So this is, there were 7 weeks of this quote story campaign, and we can get our title now, but there will definitely be more 2 weeks before the end of the season. But it was a fun end this week. Des, you keep up with the story, obviously, even though you haven't been playing some.
Dude, I was super stoked to hear Rasputin talk about some of the stuff he talked about.
Yeah.
Just hard confirmation. Spoiler. That he effectively chose not to open fire on the Traveler.
Yeah.
That's that's been an ongoing thing for years.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So I mean, to have that nail in the coffin, and also explaining, not really explaining, but giving at least some kind of explanation on the Seraph. Oh, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. Yes, I get excited about simple things. And just to get a hint, a more solid hint that the Seven Seraph were a thing and what they were. Even just a little hint is just solid gold for long-time lore people.
Mm-hmm. And the campaign mission was fun. It was short, but it takes you into the Cosmodrome bunker, which is in essence the strike. But we go into some of the strike areas, but then we go to the slightly different area where they take us, I guess you could say it's like the secure terminal. Like you take you down the elevator, like a slightly different area that we don't go to strike, and we go to the secure terminal and get the backdoor key.
I would have to do some research, but I'm almost thinking that might be a similar elevator that we used to get the invisibility thing.
Yeah, it did kind of remind me of something. You're right. It's not like we've never seen that area, but not in D2.
Oh, for sure. And I was just super surprised that they kind of diverted so far from the strike.
Mm-hmm.
And had that little area just in the pocket. It was very surprising to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, Sen, you need to run that.
Yeah, definitely.
I plan on it.
Do the thing.
I just need to do a heist.
Basically, yeah. It's really short. You just do that, and then it takes you into the little submission, and then is there? I don't think there's a cutscene or an animation this week, but maybe there's a short one. I'm trying to remember. Is there? But at least it kind of pauses it. You'll see. There's a lot of talk, of course, and again, more stuff like get the key. We have the back door. What's going to happen? And then it's like we don't know what's going to happen until several more weeks, or you might know what's going to happen if you've read some stuff.
It's funny because I actually watched the spoiler cinematic,
mm-hmm.
and I don't remember what the crap it is now, other than the fact that it was just super basic. I don't feel as disappointing as last season's, but I don't know. They might be losing a slight touch here, but no, I mean, this story has also sparked a lot of conversation in at least a lore channel, and that's always a fantastic time for me. So yeah. And definitely listen to the exchange between Rasputin and Anna, and all kinds of this is super deep stuff.
The stuff where he's like, yeah, I didn't, spoiler minor, but he's like, well, before I didn't know any better, I was just logical only, and now that I understand other things, I did make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And she says, no, you didn't. It's like, well, I did, even though I didn't know back then.
Well, yeah. I think the exact quote he used is he made the statistically correct choice, but it wasn't the right choice.
It wasn't the right choice. You're right. Yeah.
Which made me realize, this bit of dialogue actually made me realize the significance of putting an AI into an exo. Because exo minds are designed to be able to function like a human's mind, because that's how we had to believe in some way that we were still human, or else exos literally tore themselves apart. I mean, that was the explicit lore that came with Deepstone Crypt. So exo minds have to function like a human's mind. They have to allow for genuine emotion and stuff. So cramming an AI into an exo mind is literally allowing him to think like us for the first time. So this is kind of boggling.
It's a thing. Yep.
Yeah. It's like a science fiction fan's wet dream.
Nice. Anything we want to report that we did this week, Sin, like raids or whatever? I'm forgetting a little bit. I know because last night I did just want to give some quick shout outs to a garden raid that was a partial Sherpa for 2 people. Well, it was a full Sherpa for them. I forget, Moose has run it once before, but excellent job for only being second time or so. And then I forget how many times you run it, Moose. Sorry, I keep forgetting that. But we got Raphael. I'm not going to say Rafi.
Gator.
We got him through, even though I did say Rafi some earlier, through getting the divinity and first time through the raid, and also Dad McNasty through first time through the raid and divinity. So shout out to them. Excellent players, by the way. It's always interesting when I give little guesses ahead of time of how long things will take, and it's usually more on the middle to higher side, because I always like to under promise and over deliver, but these guys are excellent raiders, and if we didn't even have a little break in the middle, we would have gotten it done in under 2 hours, which is really good for a couple new people in a divinity run.
Nice.
So shout out to them. Anything else you want to talk about you've been doing, Sen? Or a live update?
Doing a heist. We're going to try to knock out the story real quick. I haven't been doing much. Been catching up on some
Triumph grinding? Yeah,
that's
right.
about it.
Because we had a whole show. We were talking about triumphs, seeing what's in, if he's still into triumphs and not, and all that jazz.
Finally got my SMG crafted with Volt shot, the Ikelos one.
Mm-hmm.
That's finally done. That's all I've been really working on. I haven't had much motivation to do much else. If I did raid, I forgot which one it was. So I apologize. I know I missed the one last night. But
You still don't have Touch of Malice.
I know. Shout out to Potato Thumbs. Edifier and I were guests on the previous week. I know we talked about it a little bit on the last show. Ed did a fantastic job, by the way. But
so
I think
talking about it again.
Yeah, we were talking about starting a Touch of Malice Anonymous group. For those of us who don't have it, Yoda, Rodimus, myself, and Nips, none of us have Touch. And Des, did you get
each
Touch
other
yet by any chance?
I should say yes, just to blow your mind.
It would blow my mind.
Mind blown.
Oh, it's so easy to get. I haven't even logged in and I've got Touch. God, step your game up, Sen.
No one's told him
I
that
couldn't remember
up,
if you've
down,
run it a couple
Konami
times
code.
or not.
No.
Sen, you just need the Konami code, then you can get it.
Or my Mango Pepsi. Maybe I need that. Speaking of which, if you want to run some checkpoints, some game.
Oh, maybe actually. I don't mind helping from time to time.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day, yep. Catch me in a good mood or not.
Catch you
Well,
outside.
yeah, we're definitely looking forward to Lightfall stuff. It's getting closer and closer, and I'd kind of had a mini prediction of when the stuff would be coming out, and I was basically right. Stuff's really starting to come out, and we're more than a month away. So I really think we're going to keep the information rolling. I mean, we're probably not going to get big drops of anything necessarily. Hopefully, they won't spoil too much or any big drops until much closer, but we are definitely getting info. I mean, the whole armor thing you went over, Des, I mean, that's a lot of info.
It makes you wonder with how big of an info drop that was, like how much more there really is. Like if this is just like the tip of the iceberg, we're getting a lot then.
I don't know. I feel like they're kind of diverting some of the hype a little. Like telling Bungie's kind of good at kind of like a sleight of hand, essentially. Magician tells you look over here, you look over here, and he does something behind their back. I think they're kind of diverting attention away from certain things just to let Strands shine a little more on release, potentially.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing.
I could see that.
So yeah, that's my thought anyway. So they're giving us a lot of juicy stuff, and getting us prepared for a lot of juicy stuff, but they're still leaving Strand like mostly unknown.
Yeah. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, we're still going to have, I mean, I'm sure they're going to give us even more information on weapons at some point. Well, if they're telling us all the armor stuff ahead of time and showing us pictures, they're probably going to have more info on the Guardian ranks and the in-game LFG and Guardian ranking system too, where we get to like rate other Guardians. So some of that stuff will probably come with more screenshots. They might tell us stuff like what the power level is going up to. Well, they already kind of, in some of these screenshots, we saw like 1800. Yeah. Yep. But they'll probably officially tell us,
Yeah. Like, also, between expansions tends to be the higher jumps anyway.
Yeah.
So getting ready to see a lot of blues again for a while.
Until we don't.
Yeah, until you don't, inevitably.
Well, I want to give a shout out to a few people who have joined the Patreon recently, and I won't read all the names now. I try to do it only about once a month, but shout out to the people that have joined. Please be sure and use your benefits to change names. I think we've had a couple of those again, so that's great news. Yep, Patreon members. And what else? We don't have any reviews since the last time I read a podcast review, so it's just status quo for now. All the information, get a hold of us otherwise. So any other things you guys want to talk about, or we probably better start wrapping up for this week anyways.
You could tell it was a lot of information.
A lot.
It was a lot.
Absorb it.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of information. I definitely do suggest also like giving it a read, because TLDR doesn't do it full justice, but I mean it's still a lot of stuff to get hyped for.
Read it in the bathroom.
Yeah. I mean,
read it on your free time.
Effectively,
Yep.
Take it a nice poop. I mean, pop open your phone, give it a read.
Yeah, give it a read.
It's interesting. How else do you think I learned the lore so good? Makes great bathroom material.
Do you have the lore book sitting next to it, so when you want to just pop open a read, or you just pull it up on your phone?
I pulled it up on my phone. I've ended up not, except for like the ebooks that they've given out. I'm behind. I keep meaning to see if they have them like on Kindle. Is that still a thing? And actually, I do, because I have a lot of books on Kindle. So yeah, I'm an avid Kindle reader. So when I read, I mean, I still have the app, and it's still a thing. So
yep.
I don't know. For some reason, for a while, it was very difficult for me to find. But hey, I have it again. which is good because again, I have a lot of books on Kindle.
Nice. Well, yeah, check that out, people, and let us know what you're excited about. Or again, if you have any questions, we had some live chat earlier, but you can always post questions also ahead of time, and we can read them on the show.
Yeah, do the thing.
All right, let's do our stuff. Should we not go with Sin first this time?
I've been first technically the last couple weeks.
Not like it matters, but it kind of
Poor
makes sense
guy.
to have the flow of how we do our little jokes. So, Des, where can people find you?
You can find me, of course, on Twitter at @DS_Raven, because it is the thing. But I've checked it, so whatever. I'm actually more surprised at this point in time, as far as the bit goes, that I have not downloaded the app still. Like, I'm kind of proud of myself at this point in time. But anyway, you can find me, of course, across the Discords. I'm still currently a turkey, at least here. That needs to change. People need to get on the ball. So yeah, Sin.
They can find me on Twitter at sin_media. And of course, next to you two lovely gents here in the Discord. But other than that, that's it. Kingsley, Anti-Barrier Mac, take us out.
Fun little thing you came up with there. You can find me as Kingsley Mac, all the places, except in the Discord. A couple of them, I'm the original Kingsley, MC Kingsley. Only some people may know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. But generally, Kingsley Mac, all the places. You can find information about our show, such as how to join this Discord we talk about, how to find different ways to listen to the show, how to find ways to join our clan, all the good info. You can find that information. We have a little bit on Twitter as The Guardian Hub, but definitely check out our website, theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you, Des. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in this week to listen to us. We really do appreciate that. We appreciate you, and we will always give you the information that you ask for, whether it's correct or not. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.